Please take your seats.
Bardzo serdecznie witam Państwa
I
na
would like to welcome all of you during the inauguration of the 22nd inauguration of the Faculty of International and Political Studies, which is also the 657th anniversary of Jagiellonian University. I would like to welcome you all who are here in person and those online. I would like to welcome specifically Professor Markian and the Dean from the University in Ivano-Frankivsk, who was also the former ambassador to Poland, and they have graced us with their presence. It's a pleasure to have you both. Mr. Ambassador will give the inaugural speech, and I think that the topic is very much on par, both from the perspective of the professor himself, as well as what our faculty deals with. I would like to welcome Wieczysław Wojnarowski, who is the consul of Ukraine in Krakow. We are very happy to have you, sir. Representatives of the academic society, including Professor Włodzimierz Bernacki, Secretary of State in the Ministry of Education. Thank you, Mr. Minister, for coming. Professors emeritus, as well as PhDs, PhD students, administrative employees, and academic and library employees, as well as students that are starting their studies. Professor Jan Brzozowski, Dr. Gladecka, Dr. Romanowska, Dr. Taylor, Dr. Wilczyński, and Alexandra Jalgieło. Welcome to all of you as well. And I would like to welcome those without which the university will not be able to carry out its mission. The students representing all studies of first and cycle studies, Polish studies and foreign language studies, international studies, because we have the largest number of students at Jagiellonian University. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, the tradition of Jagiellonian University is to celebrate the first year of the academic year, which took place on Saturday, when in Auditorium Maximum, the rector of the university, Jacek Popiel, ceremoniously opened the 659th academic year. And the International Political Studies faculty received our new home at Remonta Cztery. So we wanted to open the academic year by gathering all professors from the academic units and students. We had a symbolic march to fulfill the tradition that has been carried out for many, many years at the university. So celebrating ceremoniously the academic year in the 21st century may seem unnecessary, specifically in 2022, because we have so many difficulties that the university is facing. But in my opinion, this is the best way to bring together two specific values characterizing the modern university, as well as the Faculty of International and Political Studies, tradition and integration of the academic society. So as the dean, I am very happy and touched that the representatives of this society are here in this joint space to manifest readiness to research and study and to have a reflection against the challenges faced by this world. The greatest challenge for not just the Ukrainian society, but the entire world is the senseless, damaging war taking place since February, where we have the loss of life of men, women, and children. It is taking away fathers from children, where rape and other horrible crimes are taking place. A lot of experts are analyzing how this impacts the security in the region and how it destabilizes the political aspects of the world. So the greatest drama on the eastern border is the extent of human tragedy in this very difficult time. On behalf of us, I wanted to manifest our support for the Ukrainian society and express hope that the war will end soon, allowing for the rebuilding and growth of Ukraine in its path to enter the European Union and NATO. And I would like to thank Mr. Ambassador that in this time, difficult time, you have taken the time to come here to talk to us. Thank you very much. The war that is also a challenge for our faculty, because we need to understand when we research and study the knowledge that we pass on and the perspective, our values, which have been and are in terms of all of the topics regarding processes, social processes, cultural processes, security processes, which from the beginning of the existence of the faculty, our creating our research identity. This also shows how towards Ukrainian students that study here and in other faculties and other students are also part of our family. We need to look after all of those who need extra assistance. And it is also worth emphasizing that this society has also passed the exam of empathy and volunteering in helping gather supplies for those who needed them. In our building was a warehouse where employees and students and people from Krakow and abroad brought supplies, medicine, food, good. That was segregated and then transferred where it was needed the most. Over 200 employees and students were engaged in assistance, and they supported the Ukrainian families or um, worked in other aspects. And here I would once again like to thank all of them for their assistance that reached thousands of those in need, integrating our student society even more. Ladies and gentlemen, the war is not the only challenge that we are facing. We all remember the consequences that the pandemic had on our personal and private lives. The university was able to handle the social distancing by going into hybrid formats or online formats. But we did learn that the lack of social contact did have a negative impact on us. Last year, we came back to the university using the full capabilities of the buildings. Apart from the large lectures, everything was taking place in person. The library, the reading room and common rooms and the cafe were also reopened. And therefore, the mission of the university could have been once again carried out. And I hope that in this academic year, no factors, internal or external, will disrupt this. So the opening of the bistro or the lunchroom will be opened in 1 month around the library. And we will also have a winter garden expanded where the students and staff can find another common space. So we have also and as of October, on the third floor, we will have 2 guest rooms for visiting professors and additional spaces where those that manage our faculty and manage their stays can help. Um, and in the new calendar year, we want to organize a resting space in the green area where students can wait for classes or conferences. As you can see, we are ready to have direct contact and meetings here. If we're talking about the potential that is not just in the classes, but the seminars and conferences that are organized here, I can't forget the main challenge in the functioning of the university that the rector spoke about in his inaugural address. We are all aware of the difficulties connected with inflation and the rise in the price of energy. Regardless of the price of energy for Jagiellonian University, there is no doubt that the use of this building by the faculty will be a financial encumbrance in the next calendar year. Therefore, decisions were asked to be taken to kind of mitigate the negative effects of the cost of energy. So I want to emphasize, and as far as it's possible, to not encumber the didactic processes, certain solutions to maximize the use of common space in the building will be used. So limiting classes to end by 6 p.m., which was possible. Thanking you all for the positive reaction. So as the dean, I want to emphasize that we will not have a situation in which the faculty will be looking for savings at the cost of its staff who will have to teach outside, or for students that they would have to use their own equipment. The university does not plan on going to remote learning. And even if such a thing is proposed, we will be fighting it. We have waited for our building for 20 years and we want to take advantage of it and be happy with it. I want to share certain data that talks about the activity of our staff. and the scale of our research. In the previous academic year, our employees received 11 European grants, 6 within Horizon Europe, and 1 from the European Commission, Jean Monnet, the Visegrad Group, and the Polish German Fund for a amount of 1,400,000 euro. At the same time, we also received 15 grants in Polish competitions like the National Research Center, the Ministry of Science and Research for over 3,300,000 zloty. This is huge success, the effects of which will be shown in the upcoming years when we see conferences, congresses, international research teams, and our publications. And I would like to congratulate all of our staff for all of this. The topic that has dominated in terms of research, the evaluation that covered 2017-2021 regarded the research activities, so meaning the number of grants, publications, and the impact on the social and economic aspect. The means of accessing data was very arduous based on the staff as well as the chairs of the disciplines. Most of the disciplines in our faculty received B plus when talking about studies on politics, and there were 4 faculties at Jagiellonian University that received A plus. Once with the evaluation, there was discussions as to how we can gain a higher grade. So the inauguration of the academic year is not the time to analyze this. And the rector spoke about this on Saturday. Nevertheless, I do want to say that in preparing to the evaluation, the faculty did not take any actions that had any possible lack of ethics. So there was no publication of articles in semi-recognized publications or any other activities of the sort. Now I would like to congratulate the team of Professor Gruszczak as well as the Chair Marek Bankowicz for activities towards studies regarding administration, and Dorota Pietrzyk for engaging several months of work on evaluation, and Dr. Stolicki for optimizing data. It's not possible to mention everyone, but here I would like to thank all employees that publish, carry out the grants that have an impact on the social and economic aspect, and administrative employees that assist. This is a joint success, and of course, we hope that these evaluations will be higher in the future. The strategy of development to 2030 was taken this year. That was under the care of Miss Dean, Dorota Pietrzyk, and this was to mark the paths of development for upcoming years. You can read the strategy on the faculty's website. I would like to say that this is the result of many months of various discussions, and it is a compromise of various directions of development, and it is written in a very easy, accessible language. We are continuing the tradition of interdisciplinarity, internationalization by bringing in the document based on the development strategy of Jagiellonian University as a research institution. In the beginning of my speech, I mentioned various things, and I would like to emphasize that this will again bring a lot of happy moments in this academic year. I see this not from the perspective of just what the staff does and their cooperation, and recruitment for this year has come in very high numbers. Many students have entered the university. Madam Dean will matriculate the students in just a moment, representing the various faculties of study. It is worth mentioning that the first in history bachelor study was inaugurated, Unia Europa, and the BA in European Studies, which is carried out between the consortium of 4 universities, University of Bologna, Catholic University in Leuven, and Madrid, and in mobility in 4 other European universities, is conducted in our faculty in the Institute of European Studies. I participated in the inauguration that took place at various 4 universities that was taking place online. And creating these studies is a huge success of those that are participating in the Una Europa Consortium. Dr. Natasha Szczytczyńska, that is participating on the part of Poland. And in this aspect, internationalization takes on new meaning. And I am sure that the high quality of these studies carried out by very qualified staff will allow students to find their place in the world of research and science. And several years ago, something like this was in the concept stage. We can say that a tool has now been created to engage students in research through carrying out research tasks or directing their own knowledge. And here we can use the funds from a subvention that was given, and the remaining money from last year was reorganized and retransferred. And we have Piotr Bajor, who was leading here. There were several competitions of international cooperation or cooperation in the social and economic sphere. We plan to continue activities and implement additional programs to increase the value of our scientific research and didactics. Our aim is to conduct training for the employees, purchase additional computer equipment that can increase the quality of our research. We can teach the understanding of the world without access to audiovisual material, but of course, the quality of education is higher if the quality of tools is higher.
Rozpoczynającego się roku akademickiego życzę wszystkim Państwu
Taking once again the opportunity of this inauguration, I wish you all good health, passion for knowledge, as well as many personal successes. Students and PhD students, I wish you to use your time to gain knowledge, research experience, to gain soft competencies that are very much sought after, and to meet in your academic year people of good faith that will give you time, passion, and knowledge. The employees, I wish you that you're, as researchers, organizers of university life, activists, social activists, persons that support administrative functions, that this all gives you positive aspects on your life. Along with the 3,000 students, 600 of which came from abroad, we have a unique, on a university scale, family. I don't know if we will be able to assume all of the objectives that I have just mentioned, and I don't know if we will have an impact on all of the issues of the university's existence, but I am convinced that if to each challenge we come and looking at all of our different aspects and respecting them, we have the opportunity to gain satisfaction from our work. I want all of you to feel that you can count on the support of your co-workers, supervisors, colleagues, peers, as well as deans. and I hereby open the 22nd academic year in the Faculty of International and Political Studies of Jagiellonian University. I would now like to ask Ms. Dean Eva Trojnar for her presentation speech and the matriculation of students. Mr. Dean, ladies and gentlemen, professors, teachers, academic staff, employees, administrative employees, and first and foremost, dear students at the best faculty of international and political studies in Poland. We are inaugurating the academic year 2022-2023. This day is treated symbolically, but also as a holiday of all students and employees of the university, as a great celebration to which we have a right only one day a year to celebrate. Please don't treat my words as a speech. I'm going to welcome you and invite you to an intellectual adventure that will allow you to carry out within the walls of this university passion, expand your interests, discover new areas of knowledge, as well as conduct interesting research. So in first order, I would like to welcome all of the students, all of our students, without which our work would not have purpose. So in this company, there are many people who are starting their higher education studies, a new stage in their life, which in many years later may be deemed as the most beautiful part of their lives. I would like to welcome students from Ukraine who have found their possibility to continue studies at our faculty or are just starting them, both at the bachelor and or master cycle. Your presence tells us that we're meeting in very special times and circumstances, very difficult ones that have forced you to leave your country. We're happy that you are able to have unhampered access to knowledge here in safe conditions. So let this welcome and in invitation also be said in Ukrainian. We also have students from other parts of the world who either through their knowledge of Polish are taking classes in Polish or who have selected to study in English. And for you, we hope that this is a friendly place in the map of Europe, on the map of Krakow, or may I say, on the map of life and educational choices that you are drawing. Dear students, today you are now the society of the faculty of international and political studies, and you can study various things that help you discover the entire world, social studies and humanities. We understand and we respect these decisions. They're very close to our hearts, not just because we're going to meet in class, but also because we were once students ourselves. And we were also once your age. And similarly to you, we had certain doubts when we were selecting what we wanted to study. We had problems with recruitment, with entering studies, being accepted. Similarly, as you, we waited to learn our colleagues. We were roaming the halls to find our classrooms, our teachers, and sometimes we waited a lot of hours to get our entry into our students' record. Now it is somewhat easier because for several years everything takes place electronically. Hence, I would like to encourage all of you to take advantage of the electronic system for your university email through which we will be contacting you. and to track and follow all of the websites, Facebook, our website and a university website, which are conducted for the purposes of the classes. And once again, back to memories. Similarly to you, we wanted to study. And just like you, things that were purposeful and interesting. And it turns out that the university had more to offer than just participating in classes and passing exams. We were engaged institutionally through clubs and social clubs, sports clubs, tourism clubs. Dear students, let's hope that our memories of the university become your experiences, will become an adventure that goes outside of what you have imagined. We hope that you gain the competences, gain friendships, take advantage of the help of the administrative and the academic staff, use the infrastructure, the modern infrastructure that's available to you, the vast resources of the libraries, gain competitions, win them, travel, take advantage of scholarships, and be brave and persistent. And this is what I would like to wish you on the inauguration of the new academic year. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to accept the new students as students of our faculty. In your presence and that of the dean, they will matriculate. They will take their oath. They are taking place in first and second cycle studies in our faculty. I will invite these persons to come up. I will ask you to stand here next to me. International Cultural Studies, Anna Adamczyk. Intercultural Relations, Olivia Gunia and Sylvia Gunia. Migration, International Migrations, Anna Pawłowicz. International Relations, Jakub Bolek. Political Science, Igor Gordienko. International Security, Selina Yachin. Japanese Studies, Monika Kosak. Chinese Studies, Weronika Mielnik. Asian Strategic Studies, Magdalena Herman. African Studies, Martyna Krasny. Tymoteusz Grochowski. Near East Studies, Korean Studies, Victoria Mosin. Eurasian Studies, first and second cycles, Anna Sobala and Adrian Komenda. Russian Studies, Lydia Volchko. American Studies, first and second cycle, Aleksandra Wojnicka and Katarzyna Kawecka. Latin American Studies, Arkadiusz Dudziak. Polish-Ukrainian Studies, Justyna Skorodyńska. European Studies, Polina Hopta. And Bartosz Borowski, second cycle.
Kierunki anglojęzyczne,
The European Studies, Gabriela Musialik.
Global and Development Studies, pan Bartosz Świderski.
International Relations and Area Studies, Natalia Mirska. Nicole Kulon, International Security and Development. Ladies and gentlemen, these are our students that are starting their studies and represent 20 different courses of study. Ladies and gentlemen, before the dean, you will be taking your oath. So kindly turn around and face the dean. And I will ask the rest of you to please stand. Please repeat after me. Aware of the great traditions and merits of Jagiellonian University and the duties of a member of the academic community, I solemnly vow to strive for truth, the basis of all science, acquire knowledge and skills with persistence, observe norms, rules of coexistence, and customs of the university, look after the good name of the university and student dignity. Thank you and congratulations.
Już możecie Państwo mówić. Dziękuję bardzo. Bardzo serdecznie dziękuję za
Thank you very much. Thank you for carrying out this part, one of the most important in the inauguration process. A symbolic welcome and matriculation student's oath from all of the courses of study. This is several hundred people that are represented here, as you have seen. We're in a situation where we shouldn't be opening new courses of study because there will be a problem of fitting everyone in our auditorium. Congratulations to all of you, and please congratulate all of the other students that are with you in year one. Ladies and gentlemen, the tradition of another important element of the inauguration is the representation of students, the representative of students. I would now like to give the floor to Igor Majerczak, the chair of the Student Self-Government of the Faculty of International and Political Studies. Deans, academic staff, administrative staff, academic community, and first and foremost, students. We are inaugurating the academic year 2022-2023. This is always a beautiful event because it is not just to meet together within our faculty, but also a reflection and thought of all topics surrounding the university. And one of the topics is something that I would like to discuss with you today. But before I do that, I need a starting point. And this is going to be what studies looked like in the past 3 years. The 2019-20 academic year deemed to be standard, and that's how it started. And that ended with the spring semester. The university, as practically the entire world, went to a new online remote form caused by the SARS-2 pandemic. What was supposed to be a 2-week stop in academic courses turned into 3 semesters where everyone was trying to once again uncover what is studying. Luckily, in October 2021, we could be happy with coming back to the old form, in-person way of studying. This was not a total return to normalcy due to restrictions, but after a year and a half of being at the university on our phone and our computers, we would think that the world is going back to normal. And then, as today, I had the honor of giving the speech. It was hope that everything is going to be better and that ultimately we are back to reactivation and we can bring back all aspects of the old studies, face-to-face in-person classes, activities, meeting for coffee in the cafe, this local government, self-government of the students and student organizations. As you know, reality was different. At the end of the year, the pandemic caused us to go back to online learning, which took place till the first 2 weeks of the spring semester. And then the world stopped breathing and had to hold its breath because we had the invasion of Russia in Ukraine. And the sum of all of these situations have wanted me to draw your attention of something that is not very obvious, but it's so important. And here I'm talking about security. We're living in times of uncertainty, whether there will be another war or another catastrophe, or if our life is going to be turned upside down again. And this is not a comfortable situation. Constant uncertainty of the upcoming months, weeks, or days. And here I'm not going to be surprised if this didn't come to mind. In my opinion, a solution or perhaps a remedy could be the university, not just the university perceived as buildings, but through the prism of people creating the academic community. Examples: the chaos of the beginning of remote learning was stopped thanks to the entire staff of the university, and it turned into classes that became nothing different than those that took place in person. The engagement of the academic community in reactions, not just of those that were students coming from Ukraine, as well as those that came after February 24th, and all refugees that were looking for refuge in Krakow. Various forms of engagement allowed us to give assistance on a scale unmatched anywhere. This showed the security and safety of the university, the security that no one will leave anyone in need and no one will be left to fend for themselves. But there's another optimistic side. A large part of you finished high school this year, passed your final exams, and made it to university. And we're young people who are becoming adults that are finding out about adult life. And we're in a very brutal reality where each event has its consequence. And even though I won't say don't do everything, nothing's going to happen. No, that's not true. But one thing is to remain. You are convinced that your future is academic research. Excellent. Do that. Do it. Go for it. Act. Organize. Be it independently or with friends or an academic club. Research, write, publish. If you're not sure if this is what you want to do, but you want to try, act, write, publish. Don't, maybe you didn't think about it, but you will be thinking, maybe I'll try, then try. Maybe you're more engaged in social activities. You want to be in politics or NGOs or any other job. The student, then the local government is a place for you, the student local government. You can do your thing by being part in social media, realizing projects, going through documents or administrative assistance. You want to see how the university functions from the inside. You can act is in the student councils. Are you interested in something that I didn't mention? Good. This is not an exhausted list of what you can do in the university. If you're not finding what you're looking for, gather a group of friends and fill the gap. And in this way, you can do what somebody else was counting on. You can give someone a place where they can carry out and fulfill themselves and challenge themselves. And maybe you're thinking now, but what does all this have to do with security? So going back to the beginning, the university is the last safe house before adulthood, a space where you can verify your beliefs about what you want to do in the future by experiencing something on your own. Everything will go smoothly. Great. Good for you. You tried. You tried and it doesn't look as nice as you expected. That's good too, because that's what it was for. Did something go not as planned and you failed? So don't cry over spilled milk. I won't say that there won't be any consequences because there's always some, but even if they're not going to be as serious as in other things, nobody's going to throw you out of the university because something went wrong. I'm going to treat this as a confirmation of these words. So the motto of our faculty is we're teaching to understand the world. And I think this is very on point. We talk about very current issues and those that are changing. You're not going to learn about the quantum physics here. You're not going to learn on how to synthesize vitamin C or learn how to recover an ecosystem. You're not going to find the answers to that here, but you will get tools to independently analyze the modern world. And if you want to, you can add one more thing: the understanding of yourself. Not understanding, like somebody said, that I did well in this and this. Instead of this, you will be able to create this yourselves through tears, blood, sweat, and tears, and success. This is what I experienced by myself, and I wish this all to you as well.
Bardzo dziękuję, panie
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And since you have been chair and have been at the inauguration, I've always wait with impatience to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for this perspective. And I would, of course, agree with almost everything that you said. You have to try. And success is to stand up once more after you fall. I don't believe that you have to fall a lot. And thank you so much for these words. We are interdisciplinary, but not that much to be able to carry out quantum physics as well. But we do have those who are mathematically inclined at our university, excuse me, at our faculty, so they can work with us and perhaps answer these questions for you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now to the culminating point of our inauguration. I would like to introduce, although that this is not necessary, I would like to share the most important pieces of information of our guest speaker, Professor Markian Malski, Dean of the International Studies, Lviv University of Ivano-Frankivsk, Ambassador of Ukraine in Poland between 2010-2014, geographer and economist, author of many academic works on geopolitical matters, editor of various publications regarding Central and Eastern Europe, has received many orders and awards, the propagator of Polish-Ukrainian relations, and has carried out many projects in this topic, and a friend of Poland. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, Professor Markian Malski.
Dziękuję.
Thank you.
Spektatorus, panie dziekanie,
Mr.
panowie
Dean,
profesorowie, panie konsul generalny Ukrainy w Krakowie,
distinguished
drodzy
guests,
studenci,
dear
szanowni
students,
państwo.
ladies and gentlemen,
Dzisiaj każdy Ukrainiec,
today each Ukrainian,
uczony i polityk, dyplomat i
educated
biznesmen,
businessman,
obywatel innych
diplomat,
części Ukrainy,
citizens of
korzystając
various
ze wszystkich
parts of Ukraine
możliwości,
use any
wyrazić wdzięczność
possibility
stronie
to
polskiej
express
za
their
tą
gratitude to
mobilizację,
Poland, Poland's
za tą
citizens
wyjątkową,
for their un-
unikalną sytuację,
support
którą
in
dzisiaj
this unique situation
pomagacie nam,
that you are
Ukraińcom,
helping
rozpoczętej
us,
wojnie.
Ukrainians, in the
Dziękuję
time of war. Thank
urzędowi
you
Uniwersytetu
to
Jagiellońskiego,
the authorities of the
siostrom
university
i braci za to, że
and the
przyjmujecie naszych
students
studentów.
that you are accepting our
Jesteśmy przekonani,
students. We are
że
convinced and we
że
believe
nasza wspólna
that
przyszłość
our
tutaj
common
naszych
future
dzisiejszych studentów
is
jest
in the
po polsku.
hands of our Polish and
Jestem
Ukrainian
niezwykle
students.
miło
I'm very
uczestniczyć w
happy
inauguracji
to
roku
participate
akademickiego
in the opening of the academic year of Jagiellonian University, the oldest
najpiękniejszej
and
uczelni
most
polskiej,
modern
uczelni o bogatej
university
tradycji
with
pedagogiki
great tradition.
Bardzo serdecznie
And
dziękuję
I
za
would like to
zaproszenie na tą
thank
uroczystość
you
i
for
przekazać
inviting me
pozdrowienia
to this
w imieniu
event. And I would like to
studentów Wydziału
pass on
Zarządu
my best
Międzynarodowego
regards
Uniwersytetu Lwowskiego
from the
oraz
Lviv
całej
University
lwowskiej
staff
studenckiej wspólnoty.
and students.
Jestem zaszczycony możliwością
I
przedstawienia
am
przekazów
honored
Państwu pana
to
dziekana,
be able
które
to
trwały
give
wydanie
to you, sir,
Encyklopedii
Mr. Dean,
Lwowskiego. Jest
encyclopedia of the University of Lviv. This is our joint and common history.
Krakowskiego.
Uh,
Panie dziekanie,
Mr. Dean,
bardzo proszę, ciężkie dwa tomy
two
encyklopedii.
heavy volumes for you.
Szanowni Państwo, Kraków i Lwów
Ladies and
są
gentlemen,
filarem
Kraków and Lviv
więzi historycznej.
have
To
very
doświadczenie
strong
bogato owocuje w licznych
traditions,
wspólnych badaniach i
and this
projektach.
is shown in common
Wspólnie
projects taking place
zawisły w
today.
wymiarze.
And
Współpracy, jeśli chodzi o sprawy
cooperation in
międzynarodowe.
terms of international
Badania naukowe
relations are very
rozpoczynałem
important
w
here.
wydziale dyplomatycznym. Jesteśmy
Studies that talk
dumni
about
z tego, że
diplomacy, we're very happy
wysokiej delegacji
that
polskiego
last
oddziału
year
polskiego
we had a
stowarzyszenia
high
Stowarzyszeń Narodowych
delegation
Węgier
that
uczestniczył
came
w
last
obradach
year
naukowych
in to
90-lecia studium dyplomatycznego w
celebrate the
Lwówce
90th anniversary of Lviv
Narodowej,
University,
i jedynej tego typu
the only
państwowej fachowej szkole klasycznej dyplomacji
school that
Europy Środkowo-Wschodniej.
educates diplomats in Central and Eastern Europe.
Tylko we Lwowie można było
And in
uzyskać
Lviv,
tytuł naukowy
it was
magistra
the only
dyplomacji.
possibility to be
Bardzo
given
serdecznie
the title of
podziękuję
Master of Diplomacy.
i
So
okazję
this is
warte uznania Lwowskiej Szkole Prawa Międzynarodowego.
a huge honor to
Przyjmując
get this
słowa
from
pana
the
dziekana, wygłosiłbym
University
nasze
of
głębokie przekonanie, że
Lviv. We are
współpraca
convinced that our
ze względu na
cooperation,
kwestie lokalne i
due
regionalne
to the
będzie
local and regional
wzmacniać
issues and
i
also
umocnić.
global challenges, will
Tradycje
strengthen
pracy
the
szkoły
traditions of the
dyplomatycznej
School of
zawsze we
Diplomacy
Lwowskiem
at
zostały
the Lviv
skutecznie
University
wykorzystane
was
na
efficiently used by our
kształcenie obecnej
university
kadry
in
dyplomatycznej, która dzisiaj
educating a staff
wpływa na
which
politykę
today
międzynarodową i
impacts
międzynarodowej
state and
i
international
wykonywanie ważnej
politics, regional
dyplomatycznej.
policies.
Krytycznej turbulencji geopolitycznej i
Critical
globalnej brutальnej
turbulence
agresji Federacji
and
Rosyjskiej przeciwko
the bloody
niepodległości
aggression
terytorialnej Ukrainy.
of Russia on
Podlasiaczą najbardziej
Ukraine.
dumny
The
filarem międzynarodowego
foundations of international
opracowania
law
normatywnego
are
prawa
being
międzynarodowego i
questioned.
uniwersalnych wartości. Pełnoskalowa agresja rosyjska na
The
Ukrainę
Russian aggression on
towarzyszyła
Ukraine at the
nieprzewidywalnym
beginning
zmianom geopolitycznym,
caused
globalnym i regionalnym
political change on a
i
geopolitical and
ograniczeniu
local level.
nowego porządku światowego.
And we are now expecting a new world order. This is taking place slowly, and the war in Ukraine, it talks about
Ten
this
kształtujący się
change.
wówczas nowy porządek
The
globalny i
new
regionalny
world
wymaga w
order
kraju redefinicji priorytetów politycznych
requires
i
the
inwestycji,
redefinition of
w tym
political frames
zmierzania się
and
z
striving towards new challenges. The war in Ukraine has caused changes in the balance of power in Europe and changes in the geopolitical aspects. The Russian threat has become the major topic of European politics. There is nothing more important right now taking place in Europe. In essence, international support for Ukraine of various European states is very diversified and shows the varied interests in shaping the new world balance of power. Ukraine cannot count on the direct assistance, uh, intelligence, humanitarian support, economic support. So, diplomacy in times of war showing assistance in peace negotiations that will lead to a new reality. On the global level, we have our full successes. We were able, thanks to the Kremlin politics, create a wide anti Putin coalition, a joint mechanism of military support in Ukraine, Ramstein 40. The second success, the initiative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, the Crim platform. So, the highest leaders of the international organizations wanting to bring back Ukraine's territorial integrity. In today's lecture, I wanted to focus on three important aspects of political science and practices of diplomacy. The first, the concept of Central Europe as an instrument of real diplomacy and integration of Ukraine into European structures. The second, the strategy of small alliances in the context of war and stability on the European continent. And thirdly, the tandem of leadership in the region of Europe. The concept of Central Europe has become a dominant trend on political thought in terms of Ukrainian diplomacy. An important task here is to bring attention of the European Union to Ukrainians' need to be part of Europe, to respect European standards and values, freedom, democracy, respecting human rights, the basic freedoms, and rule of law. The main objective of this approach is, on the one hand, convincing Europe that Ukraine needs to belong to the to the European family, not the Russian family, and helping a post-communist country into integration to European structures, to participation in the European Union, and this was carried out through a discourse of Central Europe. The discourse of Central Europe is a later child, although it has its roots in the 19th century as a geopolitical project. And this is also understood in different ways regarding of history and political aims, geopolitical aims. And here we're talking about the identity of the region. Central Europe does not have any natural borders that would differentiate the region from its north, south, east, or western borders, but there are historical events and processes that allow us to imagine the phenomenon of Central Europe. From the European mosaic, we can separate it from the eastern and western part. And as a geopolitical aspect, we're talking about Central Europe from the end of the 80s and 90s, the times of changes in the region after the fall of the Berlin Wall, as a region that has its regional geopolitical entity, political, historical, cultural, and its identity. From a strategical point of view, Central and Eastern Europe discourse has carried out its instrumental task. It has taken out this region from the sphere of influence of Russia, and it has building a path towards entry to the European Union. On the one hand, integration of the space of Europe, Central and Eastern Europe will result in increasing the strength of its voice of Ukraine in international organizations as well, and will show great impact in the fight against imperial Russia and in wanting to divide Europe into a sphere of influence. Hence, we need to work out a special policy to bring in Ukraine into European institutions, looking for multilateral cooperation, be it associated members or observers, to be able to build and further the identity of Central Europe. The discussions of the identity of Ukraine shows that it needs to belong in Central Europe, and there at one time it was, of course, part of the USSR and the Russian Empire. There is a need to formulate new ideas. The priority of Polish diplomacy is to support the European accession of Ukraine. It was given a status of candidate to European Union. The next challenge that Polish diplomacy will be part of is the security and the safety of Ukraine and protection of Ukraine. For years, and this needs to be something, a model to be followed. The West did not appreciate or they underestimated the security threat against Russia. What is important is a new trend of Ukrainian diplomacy and foreign policy, the strategy of small alliances as a fast, quick reaction to the unexpected challenges of today's times. And realizing this strategy, we are looking to the assistance of our partners. And here, Poland is a huge partner, a strategic partner that will help bring Ukraine into many infrastructural projects. The first was the Polish Swedish policy of Eastern Partnership. And this is to bring the partner countries closer to the European Union through deepened cooperation and integration based on European values, standards. As a result, 3 countries signed partnership agreements, and I had the pleasure of preparing these partnership agreements of Ukraine with the European Union. And I would like again want to thank Polish diplomacy for the fact that it fulfilled its role of advocate in promoting Ukrainian interests um, and helped in signing this partnership agreement. And Ukraine became a candidate for European Union membership. The second project, a very good and well-known one, in various countries of Central and Eastern Europe, the Three Seas Initiative, one of the most important formats of regional cooperation of Central and Eastern Europe, a huge infrastructural project bringing together 12 countries from the Baltic, Adriatic, and Black Sea in energy, transport, in IT, telecommunication cooperation. The approach of Ukraine to the project from the very beginning was did not take advantage of the first invitation to a meeting, but now they can't not take part. Polish initiates giving them the status of observer that only Germany and the United States have. And if in any way we can bring Ukraine into the Three Seas, the project will have huge development potential. Ukraine would give a second soul to the Three Seas, and it would be a source of many transborder from sea to sea initiatives. The third project, Europe of the Carpathians, a very large project of cooperation, and here with a huge participation of Ukraine and acknowledging this project by the European Commission as a special operational program, similarly as Alper Dunay Baltic functioning in Europe today. The fourth, the small alliances. Of course, the Visegrad Group, the institutional cooperation of four states of Central and Eastern Europe, in which they help Eastern Europe through a special program. And in the past, the will to accede to this group is not going to be possible right now. The Visegrad Group plus Ukraine is more probable. The fourth alliance is the Lublin Triangle. Poland, Lithuania, and Ukraine. And Ukraine can here gain the possibility to cooperate with Baltic Sea and Black Sea. And examples of this alliance is the Polish Lithuanian Ukrainian brigade. We started with the battalion, and we once again want to thank for this military cooperation. It was a huge experience, closer to NATO standards, the Ukrainian that the Ukrainian soldiers received here. The Polish initiative, very important for Ukraine. The trilateral trilock, Poland, Turkey, Romania, made up of 5 countries, perhaps even adding Ukraine and Georgia. This would also, what would also be very important is the Bucharest 9. The Ukrainian initiative regarding security in our region, Kvadriga, cooperation with Turkey, the meeting of the ministries of foreign affairs and defense. The delegation from your faculty was a witness to the meeting of Ukrainian and Turkish ministers. And this also took place as part of the 90th anniversary celebration of our university. The last military alliance, Poland, Ukraine, Great Britain, there was a new trilateral form of cooperation. This was a response for European security and cooperation of the economies of these 3 states. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, the new axis, London, Warsaw, Kiev, will help strengthen the Black Sea and the Baltic Sea, creating a new geopolitical reality in our part of Europe. Everyone has, of course, their own geopolitical aspects here. Great Britain, the United Kingdom, wants to strengthen its geopolitical aspect after Brexit in Europe. and wants to be a main player and partner in the eastern flank of NATO. Poland uses this opportunity of the positioning amongst European states, and it wants to obtain new warranties for security and forms of help. And in the security sector, Ukraine wants to be a center of these small alliances. All of these actions aimed to strengthen Polish Ukrainian relations is to create a new strength in Europe. And it would reduce the impact of Russia, France, and Germany, and it would stabilize Central and Eastern Europe. For the entire region, Poland has become a leader that it is worth cooperating with, specifically because the increase uh, here will increase Warsaw's security. And strengthening of Polish Ukrainian relations can create a new polar sphere. These diplomatic actions on the international stage, specifically in Central Europe, gives additional arguments to talk about the new Polish-Ukrainian alliance. The creation of such an alliance is first common ethnic roots, cultural, religious, spiritual. Secondly, awareness of consequences of war, the priority of winning over Russian over any other problems, a similar assessment of the role of the economic development of the country, the free market that will regulate the welfare of good people. Fourth, assessment of the effectiveness of fast reaction of the creation of international institutions, the UN, for example, for these extreme European challenges, rather the lack of effectiveness here. We have a joint understanding and stance regarding the European Union member states and perhaps the lack of trust towards Brussels and France and Germany to take strong actions against Russian aggression, and the common understanding that February 24th, Ukraine and Poland, within coming closer together, they did so much more than over the past 30 years. We know that historical policies are also part of our dialogue, but a new tendency is taking place, a common fight and a common brotherhood. This brotherhood of countries, of our two countries, and our role in Central Europe, geopolitical interests, gives us the possibility and reality and effectiveness to create a new phenomenon, a partnership of regional leaders, Poland and Ukraine, that form political processes in the region. The balance of power here would move to the east. And the countries in our region, the balance of power also depends on what's going to happen and where the power is. Once again, I would like to thank you all for supporting Ukraine in various aspects. Being today in Ukraine in these most difficult times, this is our responsibility and duty, that we hope that these dark clouds do not come on our territory. We need to commonly, jointly help our Ukrainian friends. I would like to thank you for your support, for the support of Poland, for nominating the president of Ukraine for the Nobel Peace Prize. We also have voices from Ukraine, where Poland, as a country, also deserves the Nobel Peace Prize as it's for its help for Ukraine and its engagement in helping. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a positive note to end. And the references to both our presidents, President Andrzej Duda, a free world has the face of Ukraine. And I would like to express respect to Ukraine for their heroism towards their fatherland. We want them to be convinced of our assistance to Ukraine. And Poland is with you and will support you to the last day of the fight. And the response of President Zelensky, the Ukrainian honor and Poland's pride. Ukrainian fight and Poland's help. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sekunda, potwierdzę, Bartek, żebym podarował od razu. Szanowny panie dziekanie, bardzo dziękujemy za to wystąpienie. Niezwykle
Thank you
ważne.
very much for your lecture, for your presentation. It is so on par. And for you, this is the basis for your functioning, for us as well. And here I'm talking about academics and normal people, the engagement that was discussed, the cooperation. A shame that it is in such circumstances, but it has strengthened. And in referring to a very important for us meeting in Lviv, when I said the words about the need of cooperation, no one suspected that such a need for cooperation will come in this way. Thank you so much that in this difficult time, you, Professor, have come to us. And regardless of what takes place in the world, this discussion, the formats that were discussed here today, as well as our friendship between Poland and Ukraine, will strengthen. Thank you so much for this amazing present. This is a very heavy volume. This is a huge amount of knowledge. Thank you. My gift is slightly lighter, but it depends on the perspective. We have an album of the Jagiellonian University for the 650th anniversary, and a work that is connected with our visit of the research project regarding Eastern Partnership. This is the effect in the form of a publication. And in accordance with Jagiellonian University tradition, because we're not able to solve all problems, but reflection with university wine. This does inspire, definitely. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much for the invitation. We always take advantage of the opportunity to come and visit. 2014, when we were leaving the delegation, we said we're leaving Poland, but Poland remains in our heart. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our ceremony. And before we end, one more very important and traditional aspect. Gaudeamus Igitur. But before you listen to it, I will thank those that have been part of this event.
To było planowane od pewnego czasu i oczywiście, jeżeli się udało.
So if today was a success, it is not just because of us it's not because of us sitting here, it's because of those in the background that have helped so much. Piotr, Professor Piotr, Professor Magdalena, and thank you, Joanna Gruszczyńska, Derwich, Małgorzata Jasyk, and Dominik Żółtek i Konrad Kulik, because they are behind the camera. We are using your skill. Once again, thank you. Thank you so much. I wish you all a good academic year. And I would like you to ask you to stand, and we will listen to Gaudeamus Igitur.
Jeszcze raz wszystkiego dobrego. Bardzo dziękuję.
Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen.